Who are these guys that join the French Foreign Legion? What are their personality types and their psychological profile? Who's this type of person who leaves home, goes to a different country all across the world? You go on a boat, plane, train, a bus to a foreign military base to volunteer. You give your passport and you volunteer per chance your whole life. There's a few types. There's the romantic type that has the romantic view of the military, or being a soldier, whatever, being Rambo, being John Wick, whatever. And they're entering into this romantic ambiance, and their lost love is going to take them from their country. It's going to take them, and they think that they're going to earn some sort of respect for themselves, this heroic fashion. And then there's the guy, it's just the brass tacks. He's doing it for the money. And there's a lot of guys right now, and they're in the French Foreign Legion. You got a lot of guys coming from 4 fucking countries, like real poor. Like some of these countries, they don't have any opportunities, and this lack of opportunity drives men to seek the French Foreign Legion. It's a good avenue for some. You know, these countries, I knew a guy, he was from Belarus, right? Just to give you an example. And he was Special Forces in Belarus. And he was an officer, and he was making 900 bucks a month US. And he's coming to the Legion, and he's force multiplying his salary a ton, especially when you go on deployments. When you enter the French Foreign Legion, it's for the money. And then there's the nationality side. A lot of these countries in the Eastern Bloc and in Africa and South America, a little bit less, but their passports are not very strong. You don't have freedom of movement when you're getting checked, for visas. If you're from the United States, we don't run into that problem. We've got the golden ticket passport. We can pretty much go anywhere in pretty simple fashion. Some of these places, it's not like that. I knew a guy is from Kenya, and the only way he could get in to another country was to join the French Foreign Legion and to get a visa. So it was going to take years if he didn't do that. So he got into the French Legion. He got into France. I mean, this guy, he was running marathons. This guy from Kenya. He got trained in racing and figured out that he could go to France. So when he got into France, he didn't just do the race in France. He went and joined the Legion. And I respect that. So they want this nationality. So they're coming and they're doing this not only, for nationality, but you do your 5 years in the French Foreign Legion. And it's very, very difficult. And some say it's near impossible. But there's definitely people doing it. Some, people can't even do, a year or two. But what you do when you're signing this dotted line, you're doing a additional 7-year contract. So the minimum paperwork, get that. French nationality is 8 years. So when you get out of the French Legion, they're going to give you a consular residence card for France. And it gives you access to all of Europe for 10 years. And it's not a bad deal. You can work in Europe for 10 years. It's not so bad. You also have the other type of guys who, it's their romantic types. They don't last long. Guy looking for money in the same nationality kind, they have a little bit more. And then you have the war machine motherfuckers who just want to go to combat. People that are just looking for experience and check this out. And they have the type of guy like down his luck, for some fucking reason, he's not right in the head. He's going to do maybe 1, 2, 3 years, he's going to burn out. And, the French Foreign is going to use him as a vehicle. He's going to use it for self-destruction. Having that, not knowing it. He's going to be getting the same type of experience that, I had in the military. He's going to learn shooting, and, but he's not coming from like a special forces operations side of it, to the French Legion. The French Legion, it does have highly trained units, but it's not like the U.S. It's not going to be that way. It's a mixed bag depending on which units you're in. If you're in the parachute regiment, or other units like that, yeah. But if not, you're going to be their bitch for a few years. So if you got difficulties, you're that romantic guy, or if you want to be Rambo, it's not real. Take it from me, someone who's been in the military. a lot of it is mundane. Like 99% of the time, you're going to be cleaning. You're going to be doing other duties. Okay? So if you try to go in just to see combat like that, so you're going to be absolutely fucking miserable. But the French Legion, it's a very interesting mixed bag of people. They need everybody. They need all types. And if you're going the French Legion with French born, you're not picturing guys that, look like everyone else. And I tell you that right now, it's, I'm a unique individual. And if I was in the Legion, it would take a lot of, individual, unique guys to run the French Legion. Because you need people that speaks Arabic, Pashto, Afrikaans, all these foreign languages. But, you could be working in the kitchen, but, it's like being in the military. Like, everyone is a warfighter. Like, in the Marine Corps, you have different MOSs, but every Marine is a rifleman. You got their basic and all that. But, some guys, they join Legion, they don't want to, slang stuff in the kitchen. And they end up working in the kitchen, they do paperwork. People like that, some of them don't want to be riflemen, they don't want to be soldiers. But the process is like this. So when you get there, you're going to do all this medical paperwork, all this shit, all these tests, IQ tests. You're going to talk to the Gestapo, literal Gestapo, and they're going to have contracts. And there's a selection process to see which guys are picked over the other guys. Because they do need all sorts of type of people, full spectrum. And the guy's just pushing paperwork. It's like, all right, well, we're going to be charging a machine gun if necessary. And you understand that. So, these different types joining, the French Foreign Legion, it's varied. It's not all some, machine of war. You're not some big mercenary going to dark hole. It's far from that. And that's good. That's how it should be. You can't have all, you need a nice balance. You need a nice balance. That's what you can get out of the French Foreign Legion. It's a nice balance of individuals that, find. And you really, 150 nationalities are represented in the French Foreign Legion. Guys from all over the world you're going to talk to. Many places you're going to be sitting in a room with 10 people speaking different languages, being spoken, it's like the Olympics. It's fascinating, really. And then you get the guys you hear about experience in Mongolia, Thailand, Peru, Argentina, and Canada, China, Japan, all these places. And you're going to be in there. And then you're going to have a sergeant yelling at you in French with a Russian accent. But you're all fighting for, the French flag. It's a really interesting concept. It's fascinating. This institution, it's a concept. It's very, very fascinating. And that's why they have their disciplines, their structure, the way they do it, because you're bringing all these types of guys. They're coming from different reasons and motivations, being there, having to consolidate and do a cohesive unit. And it's an important part of a cohesive unit is manageable under that. And you're pushing, foreign language, French, on them. And you're all getting them to a proficient level. Understand, execute, and more importantly, follow orders. And, all types coming into that shit. There's this guy from Tunisia, when I was in pre-selection center. And he was sitting there, and he could speak a little English. And I asked him, I said, why he was there. He told me because he had lost the love of his life, and he didn't have a lot to live in Tunisia. So he entered into the French Foreign Legion because for the love of war. And it's all the same. And I looked at him, and I thought, this guy ain't fucking making it 5 minutes. And sure enough, he didn't. He didn't make it through the selection process. The Gestapo, they nipped him in the ass pretty quick, and they sent him packing. And I don't think the Legion lost much with that. Just, light one, like kind of a drop of little knowledge. Little scope on these types of guys that join the French Foreign Legion. Everyone's got their motivations. Everyone's got their reasons. Some stay in there for a career. Some go 5, years. Some desert after 6 months. And it's all rooted in motivation. And if you're watching this and you want to join the French Foreign Legion, decide what type of guy you're going to be. If you're the romantic guy or the guy that's wanting to be Rambo or John Wick, dude, you want to stay your ass at home. Because you're going to get smoked with reality. You're going to run over there to go to fucking French Legion. You need to have a realistic lens, very clear optic. That's a job that the military, it's going to be mundane. You're going to do some cool shit. You're also going to do some pretty lame shit. And you're going to be okay with the full spectrum, or it's going to be a miserable time for you. And you're going to get used to the Foreign Legion. It's a specific purpose. If you're trying to find, what type of man you are, it's not going to work out for you going in there like that. You have to have a very clear reason and vision of why you're doing it, where you're trying to go. Are you going for nationality? You trying there, burn some time, clean some stuff up, get right with yourself, better yourself? You need to know why you're doing it. And you're not just floating. Like, don't float into the French Foreign Legion, because you're going to get floated right the fuck out. Quit. So, you know yourself, like, I'm always rooted. I've always brought it back into why it matters. And you have to be self-aware and understand that your reasons, your motivations for anything, actions, people act, and they do things like autopilot, man. I think, what the fuck are you doing? You're trying to do this. It's an important question. Why? It's because you have to know your why. You're rock. Solid, man. If you're solid, you can get through any fucking situation. So, peace out.